As I'm about to introduce my guest, I think you may notice that I'm branded our FM and well, the site our FM. I think it's the light that's kind of like blocking it. Um, I promised somebody I was going to wear this T-shirt today when we do this interview, partly because of a friend of mine, Khaliwa. We buried him yesterday. But most importantly, we are live. We're here on Money Chats. And hi, Margaret.
Hi, how are you? Thank you
I'm
for
fine. I
having
know
me.
people. I'm actually honored because you see, Margaret, people don't get the privilege of getting to interact with you or people like yourself who are in the business world, helping making things happen, and it's not that easy.
Yeah,
So we're making it easy for people to be able to learn
yeah.
from people like yourself. Now, we'll just do this as quickly as we can. Uh, who's Margaret Cleary? For starters, we've told people that you're the vice president of the Local Chamber of Commerce. But just tell us a bit about yourself, your profession, and probably if there's anything you're doing in the business world so that people get to understand who we're speaking to.
Okay. Um, so I'm Margaret Perry. I'm a banker by profession. Um, I'm a farmer as well as a business owner. Okay. I'm also with the Chamber of Commerce, um, specific the Northwestern Chamber of Commerce, the vice president services there. I wear a lot of hats. I wear a lot of hats, but simply put, I am just well a lady trying to make it. You know, trying to make it. Hello, Kenny. I can't hear you if you're speaking. We can't hear you, Kenny. Supposed to drink our water. There you are. We had lost you.
The network decided to take me away.
You actually
Okay,
sound better now.
wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
I must
Yeah.
must have been the network misbehaving. So,
Okay.
so you were explaining that you're wearing many hats.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're wearing many hats. You're a farmer. You're a banker.
I'm
So
a
basically,
banker.
for those that are young entrepreneurs, this is a massive to get information firsthand. Now, you and I had a conversation, and I want us to deal with
Mm-hmm.
this issue as the first thing. You and
Okay.
you and I had a conversation was in a meeting that we had, and then you talked about financial institutions having products and services, and then you talked about
Mm-hmm.
the gap between the business people with businesses who are trying to access financing is a knowledge gap. Okay, please
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
explain
Mm-hmm.
more about the knowledge gap in relations to what financial institutions have carefully put together and what people pretty much don't.
Okay, so like I said, I'm a banker, but today I will not be speaking from the banking side of things. This is my personal capacity, so that it's out there. um, so we were speaking to the gaps that, especially the SMEs, have when it comes to financial services, and I think the first thing would be the issue of them understanding that the financial institutions are a business. Okay, first and foremost, they need to meet their obligations and make profits. Okay, so when you approach a financial institution for any funding of any sort, you need to understand that there will be obviously interests attached to it. There will be obligations that you would have to meet. Why? Because if you understand the simple concept of lending for a bank is they get deposits from the customers, and then that is what is used to lend out to would be clients. That and also that with the premise that there will be some form of return on that. Okay, so in simple terms, so what I'm trying to say is the first thing is it's a business. Okay, then the second thing is when you are looking for financing as an SME, you need to first of all know your own business. Okay, you are the person that has to tell the story of why you need this money. Okay, you need to be the one, you need to know your business, because it's not the job of the financial institution to, not really the job of the financial institution, sorry, wrong choice of words, but really it's you are the best person to explain your business, not the financial institutions. So when you come through, you would have had that knowledge, you have that experience, you have that expertise. We are just there to listen. Financial institutions are there to listen to your story. So you are the best seller for your business. So understanding your own business is one of the critical ways. Understand, for instance, what are your sales channels, your distribution process flows, how many sales are you making. If you understand all those nitty gritties for your own business, it makes it very easy for the person that is receiving this information to also understand, okay, this person seems to know what they're talking about. They understand their business. It gives a level of comfort to the lender as well. The other thing that is, I think, critical is understanding that you need to keep your financial records. I think this has been the most pressing issue with SMEs, the fact that there's lack of management in terms of their records. I think that is something that even as a chamber, we've been trying to educate a lot of our SMEs on record keeping. I think just like you would go to an individual and ask for lending, the first thing they'll say, "How are you going to pay me?" Okay, so when we ask, "Can we see your records?" It's basically just to understand what your trend process has been in terms of your business operations. Because no one is going to lend to someone if I don't understand your business, one, and then two, you don't even have any evidence that this is a viable business. So I think having that information is very important, for not just yourself but also for any would-be lender. if that is the information that they need. So I think for me, the biggest issue has been management of financial records. Something that needs to really be addressed with the SMEs. Yeah.
Okay. One of the lessons I learned dealing with financial institutions, banks, is that as an SME, whenever you earn an income, you must deposit in the bank first before you actually spend it. Because you don't necessarily look at how much money is sitting in the bank. What you normally look at is how much money is going through the account. Am I right? So meaning
Yeah.
which
So you see, go ahead.
So basically, which means that an SME must realize that their relationship with the financial institution is based on how many times they can put money into their bank and draw out. So the money they will normally put in is money that they've earned from the business that they're conducting, from the problems that they're solving with their customers. And when customers pay them, they get the money. And they don't expense it before they put it in the account. Because then when you say, give us record of what you're doing, that becomes an audit trail, basically becomes something you can look at and say, oh yeah, so you've got money coming in and money going out, and where are you getting it from? You can easily explain. I sell Chikanda, so my Chikanda customers give me 100 kwacha a day, so I deposit the 100 kwacha, and when I want to go and buy my supplies, I draw 50 kwacha, I buy my supplies, make 100, and I put it back. That's basically what you're saying. Yeah.
Yes. So also in terms of why it's important, like you said, there's an audit trail. Okay. But then we're also cognizant that some customers are multi-banked. Okay. Or, so, and sometimes you tend to keep cash, especially for a small business. Okay. So not everything will filter through the financial providers. And you find that it may not be a true representation of what your financial status is. So that is why the management accounts, okay, your records of financials is very important, because not everything filters through the financial institution. Okay, I may be depositing 50 kwacha or 100 kwacha in my account, but that does not speak to maybe how much I have cash in hand. So when I ask you, is your business worth 50 kwacha? You're going to say no. Okay. So that is why, in addition to making sure that the finances are going through your account, they should also be tied up with your financials, your records. Okay.
That's excellent. So
Yeah.
when a small enterprise or a startup approaches a financial institution, what are some of the requirements financial institutions expect these small enterprises to basically have in order to be able to access financial services?
Okay, if I got you correctly, you're asking on the requirements. So the first thing is your records. So obviously your financial records. In addition to your bank statements, we'll have to look at that. But your financials really tell the story. You would have to provide management accounts, the latest ones, of course. You would also have to provide your cash flow projections. We need to see where you're projecting your business to be, okay, in the next few, either a year or 2 years. Okay, that also helps to just see where you are and where you're going. Okay, so your records is to show a trend. Okay, we want to see that this business is viable. It has shown steady growth. Okay, also a track record. Okay, what is your track record? So just like you would go and ask for a facility in your personal capacity. Okay, I want a loan. What I would get would be my payslip. Okay, my payslip. I'm trying to simplify this conversation as much as possible, Kenny, for the average listener. So I would have to go with my payslip. Okay, the payslip would indicate that okay, I'm earning so much, and out of this amount that I'm earning, I can afford to pay so much. Okay, so that's what the payslip does. likewise, for the business, your financials do the same. This is how much you're earning. This is how much, if we gave you some form of facility, this is how much you would afford to pay back without stressing you at the end of the day. Okay? So if I lend you, it would not be, if I'm earning 5,000 kwacha and then I lend you 20,000 kwacha and I'm expecting you to pay 5,000 kwacha, I would be killing your business. Okay? So we have to look at all those things. So the financials would be important for assessment on how much you can pay, how much you are actually earning, and factoring in how much you would be paying back. And also how are you, when you're lending, it's all about, is this person able to pay back? Okay. And the records will show if there's profitability, if there's liquidity issues, then we'll be able to tell, okay, this customer can pay, this customer cannot pay, based on their financials that they provided.
Okay. Now, what's also interesting that I'm picking here is that it really boils down to the idea that you have as a business owner and whether or not you're actually solving a problem. Because we get a lot of people that come to us and say, but it's difficult to get money from financial institutions. You get it? Issue of requirements, very basic, straightforward. Clearly, you're saying you need to be a registered business. Okay, so meaning you have to go, you need to have a bank account. Bank account cannot be opened unless you've got the PACA registration forms, you've met obligations, and you've also done your tax clearance. So there's no way you can have a bank account. So if you have a bank account, you've actually achieved way more than a lot of people out there who are trying to start access funding. Okay, and the reason why we're having this conversation, because people are asking about, they mostly, when they want to start a business, they're mostly saying they need capital. That's the excuse that they always give. Right? So when you are now asking them how much money they want, you find that they won't even have specifics because they don't understand exactly what they're doing. Like you're saying, if you're talking about cash flow projections, then you yourself would know what product you're actually offering. So from what I'm picking already, financial institutions already care, right? They already care about SMEs, right? So meaning, it's the SMEs now that should be able to approach people like the financial institutions, the chambers of commerce, as an example, for guidance. So how does the chamber assist business owners? I know this one I'm throwing you a bit in the deep water here. How would it assist someone who has just started and new in the business world? How would they, the chamber of commerce, assist such a individual, especially when it comes to accessing financial services?
Well, first of all, you need to understand what the function of the chamber is. This is a body that is there to represent the business community, okay, and also lobby for conducive business environment, okay. So one of the interesting aspects of it is that we, as a chamber, are comprised of different categories of businesses. Okay, some of the categories would be the small and medium enterprises. We also have the corporates. In this case, that would be comprise the banking institutions, the financial all the financial institutions, as well as insurance and even the mines. Okay, at the corporate level. So the fact that they are already our members gives it a bit of comfort for the SMEs, in that we can provide the linkages between the financial institutions and the SMEs, which we have done in the past before. I remember that's 2019, there was a mini expo, financial expo that was done. All the banks within the province were available, okay, on call, and it was open to the SMEs to approach the financial institutions. I think it was, a success. A lot of SMEs did come through, get the information that they would get. Not, some people are not very comfortable going into the banks. So it was a very interactive session for them to come. And so those linkages, some of the things that the chamber does, also trainings in terms of financial management, and especially the books of accounting. I think there's been a lot of work around that. We also have introduced some of our partners from the Netherlands, the PIM experts. I think they've come through and spoken, they have had interactions with our members at that level. So just to give an insight on how, they could not just manage their businesses better, financial management, but also just how to upscale from small to medium and so forth. So we've had a lot of interactions, and we still continue to have these engagements with SMEs. Also, when you do come through, you are new in the industry, we do also link some of our members to these regulators, such as PACRA. So when you are starting out, we'll tell you, please make sure that you are a registered entity, legally registered entity. For any activities, even with the chamber, you need to be a recognized institution. So it's very vital that you are registered, even for traction purposes and all that. So the first step is we have you registered with the regulators, because we also need to be on the side of the law, even with our membership. So it starts from there. Then we can now connect you to and as you are going to the financial institutions, there should be a level of understanding of what their expectations would be. So ours is to make sure that the groundwork is done with the SMEs before they get to the financial institutions.
Let's talk about the meat, the beef, the braai, the party, the thing that everybody wants to hear is where the money comes from. What kind of money can you access? And the reason why I want to have this discussion now, not like I'm asking you a question, we'll talk about this so that people have a good understanding. Because people say they want capital, but what they don't realize is that capital comes in all forms. There's human capital, there's financial capital, there's asset as capital. You get it? But we like to say, no, I'm lacking capital. So I want us to be able to break down these things that the products that you can get from financial institutions, that can help a business person access the money, right? Because now we want to talk about the money. The money.
The money.
Okay? We want to talk about the money.
Okay.
And the reason is, the money we're talking about is arranged in different stages for different reasons, right? Addressing a different stage in every business person's life. Okay, so for instance, if we talk about asset financing as an example, if I'm a startup, right, and I've invested a bit of money and I want to grow my business, right, I want to access machinery. Am I going to go and get a term loan in order to buy equipment? Is that how you would advise it? We're dealing with asset financing here. Is that the way, I would do it? Normally, that's what people think. They think they must go and get a term loan, right? That's tied to their salary in order to buy machinery, as an example. So let's talk about asset financing as an example. Under what circumstances would business owner want to access asset financing?
Okay, so you've actually put it right there. First of all, when you are asking for a facility, it's very important to understand the purpose of that loan. Okay, why are we getting this loan? And again, I go back to your records. Okay, here's an SME. Let's say they're in transportation. They come through and say, okay, I need a term loan. Okay, I want to buy a vehicle and increase on my fleet and all that. And I would say, okay, you want a term loan. First of all, let's look at your numbers. Okay, is it let's look at your expenses, for instance. You find that maybe your pilferage is on your expenses of fuel. Okay, or you have a huge wage bill. Okay, okay, so money is you're losing money on your expenses. Okay, just giving an example. Or maybe it's miscellaneous expenses. Okay, where you can't really account for it. So, do you really need a loan at that point? So that conversation is important, and that's why the numbers will actually guide. Okay, it may not necessarily be that you need a facility at all times. Sometimes it's just financial guidance. Okay, that is why it's very important for businesses to make their bankers their trusted advisor. Okay, when you should have a relationship with your bankers or your financial institutions. They should be able to look at your current needs. Okay, maybe this customer does not necessarily need a term loan, but you need vehicles, okay? Or you need to increase your fleet, you want to buy trucks. So you don't need the money, but you need the truck. So now that's where asset financing comes in. Okay? So asset financing may not be that you are paying, that you are getting the actual cash, but the financial institution will purchase that asset for you, obviously, and then you would have to pay back. That's what asset financing is.
Another interesting one is sometimes someone needs money for a short period, so they don't necessarily have to go for a 12 months or a 2-3 year loan, right? Would think of, for argument's sake, either an overdraft, right, as a facility, isn't it? For me to be able to access money that I can, so under what circumstances would I be able to, as a business person, would I pursue an overdraft?
Okay, so one of the things that someone taught me is never borrow short to pay long. So what I'm trying to say is you're trying to borrow for 6 months but you want to pay in 2 years. So remember, there's the interest factor there. You pay more. So that's just one hint for some people. So what I would advise is for an overdraft, it's basically like I said, it's anything that is below 1 year would be termed as an overdraft on the business side.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Then there are times when people have got money tied. They've got an invoice or they've gotten an order. This is a general statement. It's not specific to a financial institution. There are some that offer these services, some don't. And that's why I said we're going to discuss this. There's these two services, invoice discount, and the other one is order financing. Okay. Which one would you want to talk about? I'll pick one, you pick the other. Which one are you more comfortable talking about between the two? As a principle?
No, invoice discounting is just basically a loan that is secured against an outstanding invoice. So what basically that means is if let's say I'm paying I've supplied something to Kansanshi, for instance, or any other institution, and they give me an invoice. Okay, I invoice them, sorry, and then I need money upfront. Maybe I have another order or something else that I need to do, maybe pay salaries. And then I come to the bank and say, okay, look, I'm waiting for this payment. I've invoiced, but I'm only going to get my money in 30 days. Okay. So depending on who the off-taker is and how comfortable the financial institution is with that off-taker, they would say, okay, we will finance you 80% of that invoice. Okay. So that, or 20% of that, depending on what you've agreed on. Sorry, I have a cough. So depending on that, you can get finance to that effect. So based on the invoice that you've provided. So that's basically what it's all about.
Order finance, yeah. You talk about
that's
it, or you
very important. Pretty much almost the same, but you need to understand that it's just basically we need to understand who the off-taker is. Remember, you can't just get an invoice from anybody. Okay.
Yes. Then for order
Yeah.
finance, most of the time you're dealing with a person who's hasn't performed yet. That's why they will probably have to ask you, what business are you doing? What do you intend to supply?
Mm,
Who are you supplying to?
mm,
Because
mm-hmm,
sometimes people have been awarded contracts, they take away, but they've been
mm-hmm,
awarded a contract to supply mechanical spares. Now, their company profile
mm.
says they're taking away, but this side, they have an order that says, yes, it's a
Yeah.
genuine order, you know. So now there has to
Yeah.
be a business analysis to analyze how this order will be paid back. I need
Mm.
people to understand this because these options are actually available. So you may be seated saying, I need money,
Okay.
but you have to understand at what
Yeah.
point, what kind of money you need and
Yeah.
where you can get it from. Yeah. So I need to make so it's this one is it's post performance. Is it post performance?
Mm-hmm.
It's before you perform.
No,
Yeah, it's
it's
before you perform.
before. So
Before you perform.
you know how Vakopala, they'll come and say, Ninkwataka order.
Mm.
I have an order, madam. I need to I need to supply so and so. Remember the invoice discounting, you've already invoiced, okay? You've supplied, you've invoiced. Order financing, you've gotten your order, you have your contracts in place, then you're asking for financing to well, maybe to buy the goods that you are about to supply. I think that's where the financing comes in. Again, it's very important to understand who you are supplying to and what are the
Mm.
terms in terms of the payment. It's also about comfortability in terms of, like I said, the off taker. Um, is it a company that is reliable? Obviously, reputation comes in for institutions. Okay, when we are considering such financing.
Okay, the last two, I don't want to talk about them in detail. I just want to mention them. Reasons being that most
Mm.
of us normally don't participate. Our businesses are small contenders. We normally don't come to ask for a standing letter of credit or a bank guarantee. But I just wanted to put them out. Is there
Mm.
anything that you comment on these type of or we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at
Well,
that.
those would well, a guarantee, they are different also. There's performance guarantees, okay? So this is just a promise to pay, okay? Based on, for instance, if someone, where you have two parties, okay? And let's say you are engaged, Ken, you've been engaged by company X to do a job, but the other company is saying, okay, look, I cannot pay you until you perform. And then you are saying, okay, look, I need maybe a certain amount before I can start the job. Let's say if you're in construction. You may then approach a third party, which would be the financial institution. The financial institution will then give guarantee, let's say to company X, to say if Ken does not meet the standards, or if he meets the, well, if he doesn't meet the standards, then we will pay for any issues that may come. So we are just guaranteeing your performance. So at that point, when there's a guarantee, obviously the bank needs to, or the financial institutions will need to look at ways in which they can also cover themselves. It's a reputational thing. It's always about the kind of relationship that you've built. So it's everything to do with reputation.
Okay. So let me shift the gear as we start concluding. Next stage. You're a farmer and an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Tell us about that journey because I think it's important for people to realize because you're a banker by profession. You haven't stayed comfortable saying, no, because I'm a banker, then it's fine, right? You've also decided to
Yeah.
take the risk. Tell us about your
I'm a
farming.
busy bee. Well, I think I'm a busy bee. It comes from, I think, my family. I've grown up with around the farms. So I love gardening. It's a hobby, but it's also a business, not just a hobby. So I make a lot of supplies to some restaurants and some lodges, also just individuals as well. It's always important to not just look at your income from your employer. You know, I have a boss who always used to tell me, don't love your employer too much because the day they will
Mhm.
stop loving you, you won't know what to
Yes,
do. So, yeah.
definitely. Coincidentally,
So
this week.
it's always just important to also be busy, you know. As youths, we need to find ways of making um, a livelihood other than just your pay, you know, go above and
Coincidentally, this
beyond.
week we were discussing the business of restaurants, right? And we were talking about people becoming suppliers to restaurants. And then with the other week, we were saying part of your income, if you're on a salary, must be used to
Mhm.
invest. Don't just consume everything.
Mhm.
And you are doing just that. Okay. So, what are you producing on your farm?
Okay, so I grow a lot of English vegetables. So I would have like my eggplants, I'll have lettuce. I do a lot of lettuce actually. Also the traditional impua, I'll have that. I do also, what did I do last time? Yeah, I think those would be the main vegetables. I
Okay.
tried cabbage
Is
once.
that all in your?
It's you know, it's been a journey. I'll tell you. When you are farming and you are not there, I think the first lesson I learned is you need to be present. It's a lot of work. If you are not, I mean, there's a lot of pilferage, thefts, of course. And then you know, just need to manage it. You need to manage it. You need to really be there. It's quite involving. It's quite involving. But I enjoyed. I thoroughly enjoyed. I had, I think my first year was a disaster financially, but getting there slowly.
Okay.
It was a time to learn. The first year was a time to learn. Yeah.
Okay. Is
Then
that all
I
you?
also have a spice shop.
Okay. There we go. That's what I
No.
wanted to hear.
Yeah. So I also have a company called Mali's Trading. So that's just a combination of my name and my mother's name, Elizabeth. So that's Mali's Trading. So I do spices. I love, well, like I said, I come from a family that is not just into farming, but also cooking. So I've grown up with a lot of, you know, those aromas. And when I came to Solwezi, I saw there was a gap. A lot of restaurants would have to get, even for myself actually, when I want certain spices, I would have to either get to Kitwe and buy those things. I said, okay, here's an opportunity. I think there's a gap here. We started it. I started with my brother, and that's how it started, and it's growing right now. Supplying to a lot of major restaurants in Solwezi, if not all, and
Hmm.
also to individuals as well. For the locals, I must say, at first it was a bit of a slow start, but I think over time, even they are now appreciating our spices. So it's very exciting to see that. Okay, now there's what is this? There's a lot of inquisition around. Okay, what is this? And when you tell them that this is how it works, so it's life changing as well for them. So I enjoy that.
One thing I noticed is that you use these words. You saw a gap. So you saw people that needed something and you provided. You never said,
Mhm.
I have money.
Mhm.
What business can I do? You understand? Which is a common statement. You
No,
know? We're trying to teach people
there's a gap,
not, you
and
have
I
to
started
identify.
very small. Very,
Hmm,
yeah.
yeah. One thing I also like,
There
I
was
was
a
hoping
gap.
I'd show, yeah, I was hoping I'd show people pictures, right, of your setup, right, so that people understand that.
Okay.
There's a standard to the way you set up your shop. You didn't just say, no, here's the
Uh-huh.
table, put prices, I'm gonna make money. You you invested. You've done some branding, and I like that, and that's
Yeah.
why I wanted to touch that side of things, because it's important for young entrepreneurs and people already in business to realize that there's a standard that we have to set. People must feel comfortable
Mm.
approaching you, and I
Yeah.
like that. I don't want to take a lot of your time. Believe you me, we might find ourselves still here for another hour. I think you've done justice
Yeah.
as the vice
Thank
president
you.
for services for the Chamber of Commerce. I think you've done justice. The one thing we didn't do in housekeeping is we didn't tell people to share this feed on their pages. You guys needed to share, not just watch. You needed to share so that other people can actually get to watch this. Okay, so we've got Western.
Yeah.
Western is in Winilunga. He's doing Portugal.
Okay.
He's like a big distributor there. Okay, and then we've got Benny Musonda. Benny Musonda even said, "Look, I need to be part of this," and he's commented and said, "Great information." And we also have Michael Limbani Piri. Is it Michael
Oh.
Limbani who has tagged Michael Limbani to be part of the broadcast? And just in conclusion,
Oh.
we're broadcasting, guys. We're broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook. So make sure you like and subscribe the Ken's Nyango Insights page. As we make sure we put you face front with people like Margaret, who you would not ordinarily find. You have to go to her office and literally build that relationship that I have.
Oh yes.
You understand? Yeah. As my personal
Or find me
banker.
at the chamber. Or find me at the
Or found
chamber.
at the chamber, yes. We found at the chamber, and then for me, she's
Yeah.
my personal banker. So when I'm stuck, I pick up the phone and say, "How do we handle this?" And she's been very, very, very helpful. Thank you very much, Margaret, for having spared this time.
Mm.
We've managed to we've managed to discuss what we talked about the other week on the financial literacy for SMEs. Guys, this is
Mm.
what it means when we talk about financial literacy. She talked about it, record keeping. We talked about access to money. We talked about management accounts. Your
Mm.
management accounts sometimes can be basic, but as long as someone can look through your records and verify, even that is enough. You get it. You may not have all these financial computers to keep record, even just on paper, just showing proof that
Mm.
there's things going. That can be looked at as a financial institution, and they'll be able to consider that as well. Thank you very much. We'll call on you again very soon
Thank
as
you.
you come back. Who
My
knows?
final
You may.
words.
Yes, yes.
My
Because I was
final words
about to get there.
is
Yes.
my final words would be make sure you make your banker your trusted advisor. I cannot overemphasize that. Let them know, especially when you're starting, be in touch with your banker and learn, and also just have that relationship with them, step by step, growing with them, and they'll give you all the advice you need. Thanks.
All right. So, guys, we'll leave you here. You'll catch us next week. Next week, we'll do it Thursday. All right. We'll do it Thursday next week with another guest that we're going to have on the show. So, on the program. So, it's been an honor. We've had a very interesting conversation. Make sure you share this with as many people, tag as many people to catch this information. Our president has given a very powerful speech today when it comes to enterprise support. It starts with us. We'll make it happen. So, thank you very much. Until next time. Good. It's a goodbye.